you and I have a rendezvous with destiny. We'll preserve for our children this, the last best hope of man on earth, or we'll sentence them to take the last step into 1,000 years of darkness.
Reagan galvanized the emerging conservative movement in America at a time when we had a floundering economy, a growing welfare state, and a raging Cold War. Looking back after 50 years, you can see how Reagan hit all the high notes of conservative thought that he upheld the rest of his career. Start with excessive taxation.
No nation in history has ever survived a tax burden that reached a third of its national income. Today, 37 cents out of every dollar earned in this country is the tax collector's share. And yet our government continues to spend $17 million a day more than the government takes in.
And the celebration and preservation of freedom.
We're at war with the most dangerous enemy that has ever faced mankind in his long climb from the swamp to the stars. And it's been said if we lose that war, and in so doing lose this way of freedom of ours, history will record with the greatest astonishment that those who had the most to lose did the least to prevent its happening.
And the growth of government.
The full power of centralized government. This was the very thing the Founding Fathers sought to minimize. They knew that governments don't control things. A government can't control the economy without controlling people.
The Cold War, the Soviet Union, and our desire for peace.
We cannot buy our security, our freedom from the threat of the bomb, by committing an immorality so great as saying to 1 billion human beings now enslaved behind the Iron Curtain, give up your dreams of freedom, because to save our own skins, we're willing to make a deal with your slave masters.
His speech, entitled A Time for Choosing, provided the voice, the words, and the passion dearly needed by the Goldwater campaign.
You and I are told increasingly we have to choose between a left or right. Well, I'd like to suggest there is no such thing as a left or right. There's only an up or down. Man's old age dream, the ultimate in individual freedom consistent with law and order, or down to the ant-heap of totalitarianism.
David Broder of the Washington Post, maybe the preeminent political reporter of his time, described it as, quote, the most successful national political debut since William Jennings Bryan electrified the 1896 Democratic Convention with his Cross of Gold speech. And after Reagan won in a landslide in 1980, columnist George Will quipped, Goldwater won the election of 1964. It just took 16 years to count the votes. Some thought it was too emotional, others thought it was too controversial. But after the speech aired, it was clear that Ronald Reagan and his ideas were simply irresistible.
You and I know and do not believe that life is so dear and peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery. If nothing in life is worth dying for, when did this begin? Just in the face of this enemy? Or should Moses have told the children of Israel to live in slavery under the Pharaohs? Should Christ have refused the cross? Should the patriots at Concord Bridge have thrown down their guns and refused to fire the shot heard round the world? The martyrs of history were not fools. And our honored dead who gave their lives to stop the advance of the Nazis didn't die in vain. Where then is the road to peace? Well, it's a simple answer after all. You and I have the courage to say to our enemies, there is a price we will not pay. There is a point beyond which they must not advance. As for the enemies of freedom, those who are potential adversaries, they will be reminded that peace is the highest aspiration of the American people. We will negotiate for it, sacrifice for it. We will not surrender for it now or ever.